Welcome to Chisel and Compass, where deep-rooted wisdom meets the crossroads of faith, entrepreneurship, and mindset. I'm the real Jason Duncan, and he's Dr. Justin Mosley, the Mindset Doctor. And we're here to help you refine your vision and navigate life's toughest challenges with purpose-driven strategies and real-world insights. Each episode, we're going to dive into faith-driven leadership, business growth, personal development, and the mindset shifts that drive lasting success. Now, whether you're building your business, enhancing your leadership skills, or pursuing personal growth, this podcast equips you with the tools and perspectives you need to lead with conviction and live with impact. This isn't just about where you're going, it's how you get there. So let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Chisel and Compass. In this episode, we're going to be giving you our top 10 tips on how to make 2026 your best year ever. Hello there, I am the real Jason Duncan, and he is
Dr. Justin Mosley.
He's the Mindset Doctor. We're here today. I think we're recording this in December, but I think this is the first episode released in 2026. So we're Happy New Year. We're glad that you're here listening to this show. And as we were talked about, this podcast, the Chisel and Compass podcast, is all about the intersection of faith, business, and mindset. And so we're both business owners, entrepreneurs. We're both followers of Christ. We're both deep into mindset and studying. Justin, you sent me a text just last week that it's been 3 years since we went through Think and Grow Rich together. And it's like, I can't believe it's been that long. So we're deep students of mindset and faith and business. So today we're going to take turns. I've got 5 tips. Justin's got 5 tips. We're going to go back and forth, and you're welcome to disagree in the comments. Or if you got a better tip that you want to give in, these are tips that we think are going to make your 2026 the best year ever. Justin, you get tip number 1, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah, and we did, I think, a whole episode around this, but I would say number 1, practice gratitude. So obviously into 2025, moving into 2026, let's say this comes out in January, look back over 2025, all the good, the bad, everything that happened, and then be truly grateful. No matter if it was a great year or if it was a horrible year, we all have something to be grateful for. Especially the people coming off a bad year, you don't want to start it off negative. This is your time to get positive and get excited about what's to come. Think about all the lessons you learned from mistakes made last year and how you can actually overcome them. But truly establish today and challenge me on it. Do 30 days. Wake up every single morning getting grateful. And dive deeper into that episode we did on that, because it's not just like, hey, I'm thankful for stuff. You really got to go deep into gratitude and change how you feel, because you can't be anxious, worried, and doubtful and be truly grateful at the same time. So gratitude is powerful and it can change your life. And go listen to our episode on gratitude for sure.
Okay, I'll do tip number 2. The first one I've got for these top 10 is very practical. Learn how to use AI. If you're going to make 2026 your best year ever, it is not optional anymore. AI is leverage without headcount. I mean, think about that. And if your goal is to exit without exiting, which is what I teach my entrepreneur mastermind members, which means to build a business that runs without you, you got to have systems that scale without adding bodies to the payroll for every new task. And AI will help you systemize that, systemize your thinking, your document your processes, create content, analyze decisions. It'll help you move faster than other entrepreneurs who are still doing everything manually or hiring for every single gap. This is really important. And it also connects to what I talk about in the 5 freedoms, because AI can buy back a lot of time and it can expand your choice. And the entrepreneurs who are going to succeed in 2026 are going to be the ones who really use and lean in to AI. And what I mean by AI is specifically, I'm talking about language models that help you think and can be your thinking partner. I know Claude right now is one of my favorite ones, and they advertise that I'm your thinking partner. You don't need to become a technologist, but you do need to become competent enough to use AI as a tool, the same way you'd expect yourself to know how to use email or how to use Excel. Like, you've got to know how to use it. So if you've been holding out, 2026 has got to be the year that you use AI.
So next one I would say is reflect on what went really well the year before and double down on that. And I know some of the things. So Jason and I, we meet every single week as long as we're in town. We meet every week. And one of the things for you, you brought up, we looked back at, well, and I'll use an example for us, for our clinics. One of the things for us was the webinars that we were using. And the webinars were going really well. So it's like, okay, how can we focus more time and attention there? And I know you looked back at kind of your business and you were like, hey, where do most of my clients come from? And for you, what did you find from that?
Well, when we looked at that, one of the things we found is that being on stages speaking was a big one.
Yeah.
This is where I got a lot of clients.
Yep. And that was like a clarity moment for you because there is so much we can put our time and attention into. There's marketing, there's funnels, there's online, there's all the stuff, social media, there's all the things that are necessary. But when you looked and you're like, well, most of my clients come from here, then you're like, I just need to find more stages. And that's what you've done. You're getting on more stages. And then I helped reframe it too, is like not just physical stages, webinars are stages. Like if you're doing a webinar with someone else or you're on someone else's podcast, that is a stage. That's their platform and their audience that they're bringing to you. And now you're doubling down on that. And I know it's just going to be a success there. So I think for everybody, sometimes we're just so focused in the moment. What do I do now and next? We don't reflect on, well, what actually got us here that was really successful in the past? Because there was times, I guess the flip side of that could be another point of mine. I'm kind of jumping ahead, I guess, is look at what you've actually dropped off in the past. That maybe there were things like in our clinic, one of the things that used to work really well, somehow along the way, we just weren't asking for referrals. That process just slipped through the cracks. And I was able to identify like, hey, where did this drop off along the way? We need to add that back in. And once we started adding that simple step back in, referrals started to pick up. Sometimes it was simple as that. People wanted to come in, but we didn't even ask like, hey, who do you know? What about your spouse? What about your kids? And they would refer them. So I guess it's 2 points in one, but look at what went really well, double down on that, but also look back through your systems. Is there something missing that used to be successful that you can apply again?
Agreed. All right. So my next tip, I guess we're on number 4 here, is stop being the hero of your own business. If you want 2026 to be a great year, you've got to take off the cape. It's time to understand that the hero syndrome is never going to get you where you want to be. The freedom of choice, the freedom of time, the freedom of money, none of that is going to come as long as you're the hero of the business. So what do I mean by that? Well, the hero syndrome is when you put on the cape and you swoop in and you save the day every time something needs to be done in your business. And you might think that's noble. You might think that's great because you're better at it than everybody else. Well, that's fine. And that is true, at least at the beginning. But your business is never going to outgrow you if you keep the cape on. Think about the $1 trillion and multi-billion dollar businesses in our world today. They're not run by heroes. They're run by systems and processes and people other than the founder. So my tip for you is if you're going to make 2026 the best year ever, it's time to stop being the hero of your own business.
Yeah, my next tip actually goes right along with that. It's implement strategic thinking time into your day. Sometimes, especially as hero entrepreneurs, but just high performing entrepreneurs, we get so caught up in the badge of busy. Like these are my work hours. I've got to stay busy and just be busy doing things. But that's not when we solve the biggest problems. The best way to do it is to get quiet your thoughts. And I think we've done it before, but we can go into the neuroscience of that. Like most of our day we spend in high beta brain waves where we're just busy, go, get stuff done. But to truly problem solve, we need to be in an alpha state. And the way to do that is to actually lower our brain waves. Pause, close your eyes, do deep breathing, get into a meditative state and quiet the busyness. That's when you can actually get your best ideas. That's why a lot of times the best ideas come in the shower because we can't physically be busy doing other things. We're actually letting our mind kind of calm and rest. That's when we get some of the most creative ideas. And Jason, I know for you, like you even take a full strategic day, right? Where it's no busyness. It's the time to think and plan. What do you do for that?
Well, once a month, I mark out one day of the month to do strategic planning and thinking, and I turn off everything. I tell my team that I'm not available, and I kind of dig in on some big ideas. And it might be doing some research, it might be doing some sitting in a chair and simply just thinking about things. It might be a whiteboarding session. It might be reading a specific book about a topic that I'm interested in because I'm trying to learn something specific. It's not in leisure reading. It's on purpose strategic reading. But and then other times I just use it where there's this big thing that needed to get done. It's a creative thing that I just haven't had time to do it, and I'll just dedicate a few hours to get that thing knocked out without any interruption. It is a huge, huge boost of your productivity if you do something like that.
Yep.
All right. So next tip number 6. I think we're on number 6. Is I would say if you want 2026 to be your best year ever, I think you should begin using a different measuring stick. And by that, what I mean is measure 2026 by freedom gained, not just by revenue earned. A lot of us say, well, I want it to be my best year ever. I want to do 10 million. I want to do 20 million. I mean, 100 million, or I want to do a million, or heck, I want to do 100,000, whatever it is. It's like we're looking at revenue earned, but is that really freedom? Is that really what you wanted? The way that you should measure success is by what truly makes you get what you want out of life. So I teach something called the 5 freedoms. I believe that there are 5 core freedoms that all humans want, and I believe that if pursued, they must be pursued in order, sequential order, in order to achieve that. And I'm not going to take time to go through all of that, but energy is the first one. Freedom of energy, meaning we got to have the capacity to live the life physically that we can live. So we can't be fat, sick, and medicated. We can't be running around huffing and puffing every time we walk down the hallway. We got to make sure we take care of ourselves, because without freedom of that health and energy, the other freedoms won't matter. The second is the freedom of money. Obviously, everybody knows what this is. It's money not controlling me controlling money. But if you had all the money in the world, but you're too sick, fat, and medicated to deal with it, doesn't matter. So that's why energy has to come first, then money, then time, freedom of time, because money buys time. So you can get all the time back. And then the fourth freedom is choice, be the ability to choose what you do every day, not having to be told what to do or be required to do certain things, even if you own the business. You got to get to a freedom of choice. And the fifth is freedom of purpose, really pursuing what you feel like God has put you on this planet for. And if you try to pursue purpose before the others are taken care of, you will never truly achieve the purpose. You might nick away at it, but you're never going to truly achieve it. So I would say my tip here, if you want 2026 to be the best year ever, change your measuring stick. Measure by freedom gained, not by revenue earned.
All right. For the next tip, I'm going to say dream big and set small goals. Stay with me here. I know that sounds opposite, but I think a lot of times people, they don't give ourselves the space to dream. Like we stop dreaming along the way. We just get caught up with the day to day and the go, and maybe I'm going to increase my business X amount, but we lose the dream and the excitement of the dream. And I do believe in setting big goals. Don't get me wrong, but too many people get paralyzed. They get excited and they set these big goals, but then they don't know how to actually achieve them. So they just tell themselves, I can't do it. And they don't even make any progress towards their goal. So what I want you to do is dream big and set big goals, but then chunk your goals down. How do you break that down into small steps that you can take today? And Martin Luther King said, you don't have to see the full staircase, just take the first step. And how do you take the first step? What are those small goals? The things you can do today, not the things you need to do 90 days, 6 months from now, the end of the year that you want to hit. What can you do today that's going to lead you in the right direction of hitting the bigger goals and leading you towards your dream? So chunk them down, set the small goals, and that allows you to get some wins. What could be a win today? What could be a win by the end of the week, the end of the month? Set the goals so you're winning every single day.
Love that. That's really good. All right. Tip number 8. We're getting close to the end here. Here's this practical tip. If you want 2026 to be the best year ever, before you borrow a single dollar in your business, know exactly how it's going to come back to you. So here's a simple way to explain something called the debt to profit ratio. This is without all the jargon that a finance person would tell you. Here's what it means. Every dollar you borrow, if you want to borrow money, I'm not against that. I'm not a Dave Ramsey guy, but every dollar you borrow has to have a job. So before you take on debt, whether it's a loan, a line of credit, investor money, that's in borrowing too, you should be able to clearly answer, how does this specific dollar turn into more dollars and how much? Now, what I would say, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, is your minimum standard for every dollar borrowed, you've got to be confident that it's going to return at least $1.25. That's a 1 to 1.25 ratio. But ideally, it should be $3. So if you can't do that math clearly, don't take the money. If you borrow 100 grand, but you don't know, is this going to give me 125 grand? Or is it going to be 300 grand? Or is it just money that you're going to drop in your account and you're not going to know what to do with it? Or you're going to spend it on crap that's not going to return any money? There's a trap that when cash is sitting in the bank, it feels like security. But if you borrowed it without a plan to deploy that money profitably, that security is actually creating codependency. It's creating complacency. It's creating really bad stuff for your business. You stop operating with urgency because, hey, I got a cushion. And then 6 months later, that cushion's gone. And have you built anything that generated any revenue? That's what you call blind leverage, borrowing money without a clear return. And many entrepreneurs do that all the time. I've done it and I suffer for it. And it nearly costs me everything. There have been times it was terrible. But the filter is simple here. Can I explain exactly what this money is going to do and what it will return? If you can say yes, then you consider borrowing it. If you say no, do not take the loan.
So next tip, you've got to change your story. One of the biggest reasons people don't get what they want in life is the story they keep telling themselves of why they can't have it. So back to my last tip was dream big and set the big goals. But what most people will do, they'll start getting in their head. You might have a great strategic planning day and have all these excitement and you feel the juices are flowing. But then when that wears off, all the stories come up. Man, I'm not good enough to achieve that. I've never made that much money before. I can't do it. That's for other people, not for me. Whatever those stories you're telling yourself, you've got to change it. So I want you to do is sit down and write out what is a new vision story. Write out the dream that you want, but you actually living it. What kind of person do you have to become to live that? So I think the two biggest questions people should ask themselves, I think we've talked about this before, is one, what do you want? Most people, when you ask them that, they don't know. They know all the things they don't want. I don't want to work these hours. I don't want to work so much. I want to be able to travel more, but I'm stuck in my business. Whatever those things are, get really clear on what do you want. But then the second question is, who do you have to become in order to achieve it? And I want you to write a new vision story of if you've already become that, and that's who you are. Write down what that looks like and make a clear mental picture in your mind of this new story. And the more that you start to think about it and you reflect on it and you meditate on that, the more you become that. And the more you become that, the more you're going to be able to achieve these bigger goals and dreams. Because I think Dan Martell talks about it. He said, if you were already the person you needed to become to hit your goals, you already would have achieved them. But you're not that person yet. The person who's going to hit your goals isn't who you are today. It's who you become. So who do you need to become? And what story do you need to stop telling yourself? Start telling yourself a new story and write it down and tell yourself that story every single day. This is who I am. This is who I'm becoming. This is what I'm achieving. And this is why I deserve to have X, Y, and Z. And when you change your story, you become a different person and you get better results.
Love it. All right, tip 10. This is the last one, folks. So I would say if you want 2026 to be your best year ever, you need to learn how to trust but verify. So trust your people, but you've got to build systems that let you see what's happening. And a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're running their businesses, they simply don't trust their employees. That's why they get stuck in the hero syndrome, which I talked about earlier. But here's what we need to do, because you can turn into someone who trusts but verifies without being a micromanager, without being a skeptic, because this isn't about assuming that your team is going to fail you. It's about being able to step back confidently instead of blindly, because there's a lot of times you think you're delegating, but you're actually abdicating. You give a task to someone and you never go back and check it. That's not delegation. It's abdication. I mean, think about a pilot, for example. A pilot of a plane trusts his instruments. He also has redundant systems and he checks those readings regularly. That isn't paranoia. That's a professional discipline. He trusts the plane, but he's checking it to verify that it's doing what it's set, and it lets him stay calm at 30,000 feet. So as you as an entrepreneur are moving from owner operator to owner manager to owner investor, like I teach, The goal is to be, of course, less involved in the work, but not less informed about the results. You've got to have financial reporting rhythms. You need a dashboard. You need clear KPIs. You need regular check-ins with actual numbers. Not so you can hover and micromanage, but so you can trust that they're doing what's right, but verify that your trust is well placed. And the opposite of this isn't just trusting your team. The opposite of this is stepping back. It's assuming that everything is fine and finding out 6 months later that it wasn't. I write about that in my book. Cheryl, one of the characters, I write about, she thought she had delegated a task to an employee, and 6 months later, when she checked and said, "Are you doing it?" He said, "Yeah, I've been doing it." But he was not doing it on the day of the month that it needed to get done. And because he wasn't doing it on the day of the month, and he didn't know, she lost tens of thousands of dollars. That's not delegation. That's abdication. So if you want the 26th year to be your best ever, one of the things you got to do is learn how to trust, but verify and build the systems that'll help you do that. Well, Justin, there you go, man.
Bonus one, man. If so, bonus one, go for it. Because especially starting off the year here, because entrepreneurship can be a lonely place. A lot of times we try to go at it alone. First off is don't go at it alone, but audit your circle. Do you have the right people around you? Do you have people that encourage, inspire, and empower you to actually reach your goals, or maybe think bigger than you currently are? And that could be like Jason and I. We get together every week and we encourage each other. We ask, "Hey, how's life going? How's business?" And we help each other. That's huge. And maybe it's a mastermind group. Jason runs an awesome mastermind group for high-level entrepreneurs that do want to get out of the weeds of day-to-day business and work. You could talk more about that, Jason, but obviously whether it's I recommend definitely a coach, a mastermind, somebody close to you that you can get together and talk about it, because you can't just go, let's say with church, you can't just go to a regular small group. People in your small group don't understand what it's like to be a business owner, what it's like to fire somebody, what's it like to face financial hardships that a business owner faces. You got to have people that are in that and they can talk about that together. And I know that's been something over the years. It's been huge. Having the right community has been huge for me. Jason, I just thought I'd throw that in there. How about for you? That's why you created the Exeter Club, was to be a container for business owners and entrepreneurs. But how does that one tip of surrounding yourself with the right people, how has that affected you and your business over the years?
I had a mentor of mine, business coach of mine, say to me a long time ago, and he was the first person to ever say it. It makes so much sense now. It feels stupid that I'm saying it as if it was new information. But he said, "Jason, your problem is that you're the smartest person in all your rooms." And I was like, "Okay, is that a compliment? Because it doesn't sound like one." It doesn't sound like a compliment. He said, "You got to get in rooms where you're not the smartest person in the room, man." And what he was meaning is exactly what you're saying. You've got to surround yourselves with people that you can aspire to and who can hold you accountable to the achievements that you're purporting that you want to get towards. So yes, I think mastermind. That's why I created the Exeter Club. I wanted it to be a mastermind of people all moving in the same direction. They don't want to be slaves to their businesses. But there's other groups that you can get a part of. That it's not just the Exeter Club. But I think your bonus tip of surrounding yourself with the right people is a great one. So thank you for reminding all of us about that. And I'll give a bonus one too. And this is kind of self-serving. Subscribe to the Chisel and Compass podcast. Go hit the button right now if you haven't done so. Subscribe to this podcast. We released, we're not real religious about when we release these things. We record them when we can, because but we enjoy when we do. So this one, I think is going to be the first one coming out in 2026. But go ahead and subscribe. Listen to what we got going on. Leave a comment in our YouTube or Spotify. Let us know how you think things are going. If you got an idea for a show that you want us to talk about, let us know. We'll be happy to take a look at it. But Justin, thanks for the tips. Yeah. And as always, folks, this is Chisel and Compass. I'm one half of your host here. I'm the real Jason Duncan. He is
the mindset doctor, Dr. Justin Mosley.
And we're glad that you were here. We'll see you next time. Jesus is King. That's a wrap on Chisel and Compass for today. For show notes, resources, and more, hit up chiselandcompass.com and follow us on social media. You can find me at The Real Jason Duncan, and you can find Justin at Dr. Justin Mosley. Until next time, keep your chisel sharp, your compass true, and never stop building what matters. This is Chisel and Compass.